Hey folks, I commonly get this question. You want me to reach out to my database how many times? You want me to interact with friends and family, past client circle of influence, and through phone calls and texts and emails and Facebook Messenger and Instagram? How many times? What on earth am I going to talk to them about? I have nothing to say to them. How can you do it so much? Ready? Take some notes. What kind of content shall you use when you're following up with people? I'm going to give you 4 here. Ready? Let's start with stories. First, you start with stories. We'll come back to that in a second. Second, statistics or facts. Third, information. And lastly, number 4, relationships. So let's start with stories. Ready? A client of mine comes to me and says, Dave, I can't get buyers to pull the trigger. They're afraid to. I tell people, you have to have stories ready. It doesn't matter what the particular time is that we're in. You have to have stories that sell the idea for you. Great coaches never tell people what to do. Great sales professionals never tell people what to do. They just tell stories and let people draw their own conclusions. Let me give you an example of a story. When someone asks me, how can I get, real estate buyers to move? They don't want to take any action. I tell them, well, I just tell my story. I'm giving you the short version right now, but I can give you the beautiful flowery version. When I was 26, 27 years old, I was living in the San Francisco Bay Area, working for Crescent Jewelers, looking to buy in my 20s. This is many years ago. A 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom house on Bay Farm Island near Alameda. Beautiful bedroom community, right? View of the Bay Bridge and stuff. And I didn't buy. Why? A couple of reasons. Number 1, my parents never owned a home, so I was spooked. Number 2, I didn't have a mentor telling me you could buy a home and rent it out. Number 3, I didn't have a mentor telling me you need to buy property to build equity. Number 4, the market was kind of at a high at that particular point in time. Number 5, I knew I wanted to move to Southern California eventually, and I wasn't going to be there, so I didn't pull the trigger. Here we are, 25 years later. What do you think that home, which was $270-ish, is worth today? Well, most people would say $1.1 million, $1.2 million. And what would my payoff be 25 years into that 30-year mortgage? How much equity did I lose because I didn't buy? Fast forward, 2002 now, right? I'm doing a pretty good job ruining my marriage with my beautiful wife, Martha, and I sell a house out from underneath us at a loss. How ridiculous is that? There's more to that story. I won't get into it on this particular thing. What if we just kept that home? I sold it at a loss. I was just ruining my own life. Why didn't I just keep it? Could have just rented it out. You know what the equity is on that thing? You know what I bought it for? I bought it, by the way, it was the high of the market. It was a new build or whatever. But had I kept it, the equity still would be like double what it is. The market value is like double, and we'd be 15 years into that mortgage. How much here's the story, the punchline of the storytelling. Ready? Stories number 1. You want to do follow-up? Tell stories. So story number 1, the punchline is, it's always the right time to buy. It's always the right time to buy. Okay, anyway. What I'm trying to get at is you can use stories to share with people. You can call up somebody in your database and say, look, this could be for now, this could be for the future. I just heard a great story from someone. Let me tell you a quick story if you don't mind. Here's a story about, me and homes in the past. So I just want to encourage you in the future, if you're ever interested in buying homes, don't be afraid. And tell them the story. You can reach out to your database with stories that have a good point, purpose, or value. Let's go to number 2, statistics. I'm going to lean on real estate here since a lot of you are in the real estate community. Statistics, you could call people up with facts and figures and information. Okay, let's do statistics. For example, in the last 2 weeks, the buyer demand for homes has increased radically, and there's some great graphs on it, and it's up to almost, levels from 3 months ago, that kind of thing. You can share specific statistics. You can share statistics from the local market a person lives in. Hey, Joe, I know you live in, Chino Hills, California. You got a quick sec? I want to share with you a couple stats about Chino Hills. Just throw this in your tool belt if you or anybody you know is ever thinking of doing anything, right? You could share statistics on, investing or whatever. Share statistics. People love information, especially information that might relate to them. Number 3, share news items. Call people with news items. I'm working with a mortgage lender who said there's this new really wild product where certain real estate boards are giving through $3,500 grants to people that are purchasing homes for the first time, but it's just in this community. You could reach out to people in the community and say, hey, I got some interesting news because you're in this community. If you ever wanted to buy a home or a first home, you have this grant available to you. And by the way, you can go to statistics. Here's some statistics on what's going on in your market right now. So sharing 2 or 3 facts or figures, right? Anecdotal stuff. As of the time of this video, me shooting this video, the stock market is up 3.5% today because there's a surprisingly shocking jobs report that shows that number of people employed went up radically by several million, totally unexpected this morning. You could call people up and share that as a news item, that it probably means the economy is going to pick up speed, et cetera, right? Okay, news items. Number 4, relationship. It could be just Happy Father's Day. Just wanted to call and wish you a Happy Father's Day. I was thinking about you. Or I don't know why I was thinking about you, but I was just wondering what's going on in your life and what's new. Tell me some stories, right? Relationship. Now, all of these things involve the following. Are you ready? You must be ready in advance before you reach out to people with a tool belt full of things that you want to share with people. So the punchline for this whole video is be intentional. Prepare in advance content so that when you're bumping into people all over the place, you already have a lot of conversational content, right? Or if you want to reach out to people for the second time this month, you have new things to share with them that add value to them and their lives. Add value to their lives. Prepare content in advance, even as a coach, right? I'll have, in a typical week, I'm doing like 80 coaching calls or something insane, right? So if I have to have new content prepared so that when I get into conversations with people, you mentioned this topic, I got something I want to share with you, right? It adds to the power of the conversation and the power of the relationship building. Everyone have a good one. Go get them.